fall to the wrecking ball.
Ladies and gentlemen, my guest at this time is the current reigning defending Global Syndicate Wrestling Dream OpenWeight champion, Wrecking Ball Legursky. Wrecking Ball, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good tonight. I just came back from Panera, probably the second time I've had a salad in over a year.
Oh, okay. Well, what's been the consumption in the past year?
Lots of chicken and pizza and protein shakes.
Okay. I can attest to the chicken and the pizza, not the protein shakes.
Yeah, no, they're pretty nasty. I just drink them because I have to.
Understandable. So yeah, man. I mean, we just talked about it a little bit off air. I do the commentary for GSW High Voltage. That's how I became familiar with your work doing that. But I want to kind of get like the background of like where'd you start training? I know you've done some training with XWA, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, and then you've also done some training at the 3D Academy with Bully Ray
Mhm.
and Devon and Tommy Dreamer. So I guess how'd you get started training? Was it something you've always wanted to do? Were you just a walk on, say, or what?
Yeah, so I always wanted to wrestle. That was my number one goal. Once I finished playing football in college, I played Division II football at Southern Connecticut State University. The football career didn't quite exactly go the way that I wanted to. I had multiple injuries that they don't affect me now, but I didn't. Um, I didn't get as much quality career time in my college career that I wanted to. And, I was a starter when I was healthy. Um, but once football was over, there was actually a training school in New Haven. Uh, I trained there for a little bit. It was called PWA, Pro Wrestling Academy. From there, I started training with Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, Vinny Marcellia, the guys from the Kingdom. I was at the XWA training school. That was an amazing experience. All were great guys. All had their own bit of information to offer. They're all like cooler, bigger brothers that have wonderful experience. Taven was great, Bennett was great, Vinny was great. Vinny Marcellia was really great with like the character development aspect. He went from before Ring of Honor TV, from what I understand, he had some really, really terrible gimmicks. He didn't know who he was. And he was someone who really found himself over the years. I knew when I started getting involved with him, he was Ink Sanity. Then he slowly, Ink Sanity was basically the blueprint for what became the Horror King. And it was just cool seeing his development. Fast forward, I currently train with Team 3D, Bubba Ray Dudley, Tommy Dreamer. It's an amazing experience. I mean, those are two of the best guys in wrestling. They're two. I hate when people say the biz, but they're two best in the biz. Bully Ray is a Hall of Famer. One of the best, if not the best, tag team wrestler of all time. Um, Dreamer is just a wealth of knowledge. Both of them have done everything everywhere. It's an amazing experience, and we have a couple other great students that are training there. We got Gio Galvano and Mucho Chris Moljo.
Yes, become very familiar with those guys over the course of doing the
Hmm.
commentary. So, I mean, obviously, what you take Taven and Bennett, and then Dreamer and Bully Ray, two completely different generations. All those guys came up in wrestling different ways. In what ways are those schools training similar?
Well, so um, all those guys were actually originally trained by Spike Dudley. So yeah, Taven, Vinny, and I mean, Bennett had a wealth of training as well. And I think, not quite sure if Spike trained Bennett, but um, the similarities is that they are, they do come from an old school background. They're all based off of psychology, fundamentals, while understanding that um, there is development in 2021 and wrestling has changed and wrestling has evolved. It's like, the Bully Ray's motto is old school rules and old school rules and new school tools. So it's like, that motto of like, you got to keep the fundamentals the same, the foundation the same while expanding upon it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, obviously, being a bigger guy, you're gonna have influences from guys like Vader, Doctor Death,
Mhm.
and so on and so forth. Have any smaller competitors influenced your style at all?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, when I do tape study, it's almost exclusively people who look like me, whether it's Vader, Mark Henry, Bam Bam. Um, but you could always like, capture different, emotions, different intensity. I mean, look at someone like Daniel Bryan, who's 5'8", 5'9", 170, 180 pounds. Like, you could look at his fire, his intensity, his emotion, you know.
100%. So, I mean, you're a collegiate football player, amateur wrestler. So the in ring work, I'm sure that came pretty naturally to you, being an athlete basically all your life. How soon did you really pick up on the psychology and how to work a match and put stuff together and selling and things like that?
It's always a constant work in progress. Coming in, it's like being a big guy, you know, there's a tendency, and this happens all around. It's not just me. There's a lot of big guys who think they don't have to sell, or they're too big for this or too big for that. But um, no, that was probably my issue. Like my biggest issue my first couple of years was not selling enough, not registering enough. Um, I don't know. It definitely took a couple of years to really get the basis of wrestling 101 down. And, I'm still learning psychology. I'm still evolving. I'm still growing. There's always, you know, it, it's, it's about when you go to put a match together, it's about looking at who you are, what your character is, how you look, how you portray yourself against, comparing those same characteristics to the other person. How does the wrecking ball take on the 500-pound man? How does the wrecking ball take on the gymnast? How does the wrecking ball take on the clown? Like, what makes sense and how do you do it? It's a current work. I mean, it's the current evolution, current work in progress. I'm still learning. I'm still getting better. I'm still studying. I'm still asking for advice. I'm still asking for feedback.
Absolutely, man. So, I mean, let's go to the amateur wrestling side of it. Did you wrestle at heavies, or were you lighter, or?
No, I wrestled in high school. I was a heavyweight.
Okay.
Back then, the weight class was my first 3 years. The weight class was 275, and then my senior year, the weight class got bumped up to 285. I would always have to cut down for football season. I would play football at like 300, 310. One year I was like 325. And then I would have to cut down to 275, or in the senior year 285.
Okay, I see. I see. So, I mean, have you ever incorporated any of the amateur moves into your matches? Because, I mean, you look like a lateral guy.
Yeah, I honestly I haven't as much as I should have, and honestly, it's something I've been thinking about lately. And you bring it up is making me think about doing that. Yeah, I used to do the. For all you out there, the lateral is the over under hook throw. I mean, it's
It's
the similar to the belly to belly suplex,
yes. I mean,
essentially.
I never threw them. I got thrown.
Yeah,
I was always
yeah,
on the receiving end of them. I never gave them.
yeah, yeah. No, when I wrestled in high school, I did generic big man 101. I did.
Tie
I
ups.
probably did the. Yeah, I did the my junior and senior year. I probably, or no, sophomore and junior year, I probably did more laterals. Um, but laterals, like if you hit them, they look beautiful, they look devastating. But if you get caught up, or if you don't have it locked in, you could get stuck, and that was embarrassing. So, I was a little more under the radar junior year than, by the end of the junior year, going into the senior year, people knew me more, so they wrestled a little bit more defensively because they knew I was good. So that was I had to resort to more single leg takedown. I mean, I still did the laterals when I could, but it was more of like tripping and single leg takedowns.
So you were shooting.
I would do it from like an underhook and
Or like a
throw by.
Russian, or like a Russian
Yeah,
tap.
yeah,
Okay.
from the Russian, or from I would do the amateur wrestling arm drag, which is different than um, the pro wrestling arm drag. The amateur wrestling arm drag is called the Jap Wizard, whereas
Yes.
the pro wrestling arm drag is just basically it's a hand fighting technique. Obviously, these things. I'm just trying to explain it to the audience. It's just
Absolutely.
like it's a hand fighting technique where you pull the guy in, um, almost like wax on, wax off, pull him in and into a single leg. Or I would do like I would grab the near underhook, far wrist, and I'd throw by. And as I would throw by, I would like pick the ankle or pick the knee on the other side. It's just, a lot of times when it's a big old boy, he's wherever you grab, you get them off balance, tip them over, and land on them.
Okay. I might need to see you break out a Jap Wizard at Global Festival in a couple weeks.
I might.
Show Moose what's up, man. we're about to get into that, but I want to talk about your Northeast wrestling career real quick. Kind of a legend there, man. I mean, you've done a lot of great stuff there. You were the champion there. Had a defense against Jake Hager, aka Jack Swagger, a former world heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
So just kind of tell us about your time in Northeast wrestling. I mean, I believe Cody Rhodes, he held the title there too at one point in time.
So, yes, he did. The Northeast Wrestling Heavyweight title it has a huge lineage. The first ever champion was Bam Bam Bigelow, and obviously that's one of the people I look up to. Psycho Sid was the champion. Yeah, Cody Rhodes, Warbeard Hansen, who's Ivar from the Viking Raiders now. It's had a huge lineage. Northeast Wrestling runs probably the biggest shows in America, and it doesn't necessarily always get the online buzz that people get, but they literally run the biggest shows. We were the first to have Cody Rhodes versus Kurt Angle or second, we had it in a cage match. We had the Hardy Boys versus Young Bucks. We had Kevin Owens versus Jerry Lawler. But as far as me, that was the first place that really gave me a shot. They were the first place that I call home. I mean, there's two places I call home now. It's Global Syndicate and it's Northeast Wrestling. I've done a lot of cool things there. I've wrestled Ryback. I've wrestled Vinny Marseglia. I've gotten mandible clawed by Mick Foley. I've come to Mick Foley's defense. I got hit by Jimmy Hart's megaphone. Wrestled Ryback. I tagged with Bully Ray. It's just been a wonderful experience at Northeast.
Weren't you in a ladder match there?
I was at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center with I ended up powerbombing someone through a tent.
Okay.
Man Scout Jake Manning was there. It was me, Keith Youngblood, JT Dunn, Christian Casanova, who's now
Carmelo Hayes.
Carmelo Hayes. I powerbombed like 3 or 4 of them through a table. I'm gonna have to send you, or through a table, through a tent. I'm gonna have to send you a clip to that.
Absolutely, man. So let's talk about this ladder match real quick. Now, we've seen big men in ladder matches. We've seen Kane, Mark Henry, etc. Did you study any of those Money in the Bank matches to see how these bigger guys move in this type of match?
Yes, I mean, those are the matches that I look at. But much like those other big fellas, I was unsuccessful in those matches. It's pretty hard to find a tape of the big guy actually winning the ladder match.
I think Kane won one.
Yeah.
He did it for the big guys.
Yes.
That's awesome, man. I'm gonna need to see that footage of you like throwing dudes through tents and whatnot.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Global Syndicate Wrestling, man. I've had Brandon, the promoter, the owner, on the show, Gio Galvano, etc. A couple of the GSW members of the GSW family. So, what were your thoughts when you first heard about this company, and who contacted you?
Actually, it was. I just saw they had a bunch of big names. I remember Hammerstone. Initially, Davey Boy Smith Jr. was one of the people that was originally listed. I saw a pretty good card. A really good card. I saw it in it was running in New Jersey. I saw Gio was booked for the show. I asked Gio, who's the person to contact, and he let me know it was Brandon. Initially, I was the one that reached out to Brandon, and Brandon stated that their lineup was full, and they didn't have any room for me. And I was like, man, this would have been a really cool show to get on. And then a couple weeks later, he messaged me saying someone had to pull out or back out or whatever, and he booked me for the show and booked me against Elgin, and it turned out that match turned out to be a slobber knocker, and then that's kind of how things got rolling, and and every show, GSW keeps building and building and building. There's more and more buzz behind GSW, and if you look at the production value is better than most TV products out there.
No, absolutely, man. I mean, the production is phenomenal, and I mean, you were in the first singles match on High Voltage. You wrestled MCM Mucho Chris
Yep.
Mojo. I rewatched the
Mhm.
match back last night. It was really good, man.
Thank you.
No problem. And then you also won a triple threat on another episode of High Voltage. Later on, you defeated Smiley and Big Ben Bishop to go on,
Mhm.
advance to a fatal four-way at was it Catalyst, and you won the Dream Openweight
Mhm.
title, man. I remember sitting at home watching the pay-per-view, just being happy for you. I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
because doing the commentary, I feel like I kind of know you guys in a way.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, that does make sense.
So I mean, what was going through your mind, like the show, like the show day for Catalyst, and then once you hear the 1, 2, 3, and you're holding up the Dream Openweight title.
So it depends on the point of day. So overall, Brandon, has a great locker room from the people he chooses. Like he has Jose and all the other people that help backstage are very professional. The atmosphere in the locker room is, um, everyone's happy to be there. No one's feeling like they're walking on eggshells. So it was a very loose, open, and happy atmosphere until it's game time. With me, there's a flip of the switch. This has always been me, um, playing sports. I love having fun, but when it's game time, it's game time. That was that was a very intense moment. It was very, you know, there was a lot of adrenaline rushing before the match, during the match, and after the match. Getting into the title, I really feel like the open weight title. I feel like I got the ball and I got a chance to run with it. And I think GSW is doing a good job of promoting me and investing in me. And, that there's pressure that goes along with that, but it's also a reassuring feeling that someone, you know, believes in you.
Absolutely, man. Now, I mean,
And
the
I
Dream.
think it's my time. And I think it's my time. And I think Brandon knows that.
100%. The Dream Openweight title. It's a beautiful championship. I love it.
Oh my God.
I love it.
I can't believe I did not say anything about that before. That is the most beautiful title I have ever seen on the independents. And I would put that title up against any television company's belt. Like every time I see it, I am in awe of it.
Yeah, Matt. Brandon sent me a couple pictures before Catalyst. I'm like, dude, that is beautiful. That is awesome.
Yeah.
100.
And I am not a belt mark. Like a lot of people get into like heated discussions about the belt, about different belts. It's like whatever, it's cool. A belt is a belt. But when I see this thing, I'm like, woo, that's mine.
I mean, you're defending it at a global festival, guys. Global festival's happening August 20th and 21st. It's a 2-night event. A couple hours before that, they're going to be doing some high voltage tapings. I will be live in attendance, so I can't wait to meet you in person.
Hell yeah.
So, I mean, night 1, you got Tiger. And then night 2, you have Moose. Now, Moose, he's been TNA champion. He's been a big star in Impact Wrestling. So, I know the Moose and Tiger matches are going to be different. You and Moose, you guys are going to go balls to the wall. You guys are going to beat the hell out of each other. What can we expect on night 1 when you're defending the title against Tiger?
Well, it's going to be a flat out ass kicking against Charlie the Tiger. He wrestles for GCW. He has a lot of buzz, a lot of indie buzz, but sometimes the indie buzz doesn't meet the real world. He wrestles with a lot of 170, 180 pound guys. None of those places he wrestles for has a 400-pound wrecking ball. And the Twitter world is in for rude awakening. He's going to get wrecked. An absolute ass whooping. I mean, it seems like this weekend, PETA is not going to be too happy with me. I'm beating a tiger one night, and then I'm beating the moose the next night.
Oh man, it's good.
Charlie the Tiger's got a little indie buzz. He does, GCW. He does the Game Changer. He does a couple other indies that have buzz, but there's a disconnect of like indie buzz and real life. A lot of these places that have buzz per se, are very low rate and just, a lot of it's all the buzz is based off of shock value of doing unsafe. It's just completely, like people getting dropped on their head and getting stabbed with glass, and
it's taken a turn. Wrestling is very interesting in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, so it's cool when he's like, he might think he's a badass when he's, beating up, 170-pound skinny fat guys. But now when he's going up against a 400-pound wrecking ball, I don't know. I don't think he's seen anything like me in any of those promotions.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, the match I want to see in GSW is you versus Hammerstone. He's the heavyweight champion. I think he's getting past Macklin at night one, so maybe we can get title versus title at some point in time.
Oh yeah, that's one of the matches I'm looking for. I mean, East Coast versus West Coast. It's like the 2021 version, well, maybe 2022 by the time it happens, of Hogan and King Kong Bundy.
Oh, it'd be great. I know it would. I know it'd be an awesome match, man. Now we're gonna get to the rapid portion part of the interview, so I'm gonna ask you some questions. First thing that pops into your mind.
Yeah.
Favorite wrestler of all time?
Probably Bam Bam Bigelow.
All right. Favorite tag team of all time?
Natural Disasters.
Okay. Nobody's ever said that before. All right. Why?
They represent.
Okay.
It's just one of those two big guys that kind of look like, that are kind of shaped like me, and I identify with them when I see them.
All right. No, I understand, man. I understand. I'm a big guy too. You're killing it for the big guys.
Exactly.
All right. Favorite entrance theme of all time?
Probably Shawn Michaels. That's the first one coming off the top of my head, but that might change. We'll probably hang up, and then I'll be like, there's another one. But right now, Shawn Michaels.
Hey, there we go. I mean, Shawn, he's my favorite wrestler of all time. I'm not opposed to listen to the song, man. Maybe in the locker room we might jam out to it. I don't know. Favorite amateur wrestling match you've had?
Oh, a favorite amateur. Oh my God. So this is a funny story. So I wrestled for Southington High School in Southington, Connecticut. I wrestled against this kid from Cheshire, Connecticut. first match we had, I win by points. Close match, kind of tough kid. This is like mid-season, early season. Fast forward to States, and my brother, he's not a liar. He's not a one-upper. He's not a storyteller. Told me that he overheard when he was using the bathroom that this kid was like, "Yeah, I have my real last name is Charette." He's like, "Yeah, I got Charette from Southington, and I only lost to him because I thought I was up by points and I kind of coasted the rest of the match, but I could definitely beat him, blah, blah, blah." My brother tells me the message that this kid's talking junk unknowingly in front of, my brother in the bathroom or whatever. And I go out there and wrestle him. Whistle blows, boom, right to his back. We go out of bounds, boom, right to his back again after the whistle blows the second time. I pinned him in like the overall running time was 12 seconds or something like that. This is straight up from a movie. I look at him, I point him, and I go, "That's for talking shit, bitch."
What did you lateral him to pin him or take him down?
I got him in a lateral position. It was like over under. It was like a bear hug trip, but
Okay.
with an over under.
All right.
Like sometimes for me, it was actually easier to trip people with the over under than a full out double unders because I felt like I was more susceptible to the bear hug.
Had more
or
control.
to the headlock. More susceptible to the headlock if I had double unders.
Okay.
As opposed to like one, like I would pull down the closer shoulder while elevating. I would pull down the overhook as I would lift up the underhook and trip the overhook, the leg that's below the overhook leg.
Okay, I see. Favorite scene from Remember the Titans?
Left side, strong side.
Oh man, I forget what interview you said Remember the Titans in, but I'm like, yo, that's my favorite sports film of all time.
Yeah,
movie's great.
I think I don't know. This might be an oversimplification, but I think America needs to watch Remember the Titans again.
Yeah, well, I mean, 100%, man. Lastly, where did the name Wrecking Ball Legursky come from?
All right, so Wrecking Ball, I break shit. I don't know. I break shit. I'm aggressive. That's how I play football. Very smash mouth. That's how I wrestled in high school. Very smash mouth. I just came through a list of names. I just thought of different ideas of what could portray something that shows aggression, size, power. So Wrecking Ball was that. Legursky is actually the name of an offensive lineman that was on the Pittsburgh Steelers, Doug Legursky. He wasn't like All-American or anything. He was on the Steelers and he went to I think the Bills for a little bit. But that name just stuck with me. That just sounded like an old school badass, like leather helmet, like lunch pail, working class type of name. And I thought it fit.
I mean, it does 100%, man. It's definitely an old school like territory name for sure.
Yeah,
100%. Well, Wrecking Ball, I want to thank you so much for doing this, man. This has been awesome. I can't wait to meet you in person at Global Festival. So let everybody know where they can find you, follow you on Twitter, Instagram, all that.
Twitter is at Wrecking Ball 75, and my Instagram, that's probably when I'm most active on. I wanted to keep things the same, but Wrecking Ball 75 was taken on Instagram, So Instagram is wrecking _ball _Legursky. Legursky is LEGURSKY.
For sure, man. Ladies and
Mhm.
gentlemen, this has been the Dream Open Weight Champion for GSW, Wrecking Ball Legursky. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All will fall to the wrecking ball.
This has been the Bulletcast. Thank you for listening.